and there's already some issues. Okay, so this side is just much more of a pain in the ass for some reason. I went to put this one in and it got knocked over and is now underneath here somewhere. Brought my flip-flops. Alright guys, so it is Monday. I just got back from work. On my way home I stopped and picked up some painter's tape, electrical tape, stuff like that. So what I'm gonna do now, I didn't take any of the duct tape off yesterday, even on the one that I did on Saturday, because it was crazy windy yesterday once the afternoon hit. So I was just nervous about it. So I figure now, while I still got some sunlight because of the time change, so still got a little bit of sunlight to work with out there, I want to go ahead, get that duct tape off, make sure everything's good, nothing's shaking or ready to fall out. It did really well while driving today. I haven't noticed any issues with it. So I'll get the duct tape off, give it a little test, make sure it's gonna stay in there. Then put some painter's tape going around the edge of the window, like on the actual window itself, and then take that caulk stuff and put it around the edge to help prevent any rain or anything getting in there. It is like borderline, like right at 40 degrees, so I'm hoping it works. Actually like seals up and everything properly. So yeah, I just want to get it done though because the duct tape's coming off, and I think it's supposed to rain sometime later this week. So I don't want to wait around too long, just in case there is an issue with the seal, with the way that I put that seal on there. It might not be super effective. So I want to make sure that the outside is definitely totally sealed up and no moisture is getting there. It's not going to cause any rust or anything like that. I don't know how much filming I'm going to do because, like I said, I'm trying to get this done as soon as possible before it gets dark and cold and everything. But I'll definitely show you the end product. Okay, so this was the first window that I did. Definitely feel like it has some give in some spots. I'm not done taking all the tape off yet. So I am a little bit worried about this one. This one is the one I'm definitely more worried about. So I'm going to see what happens once I actually get all this tape down. I mean, if it basically isn't going to hold, I'll put new duct tape up there to hold it in place, and then I guess this weekend I'll have to redo the sealant on this. I'll just, hardcore duct tape it in the meantime. So let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm starting to see why they tell you to use a certain type of tape. Because this duct tape, now that's been on here for, like 2 days, it's just making a huge mess. But whatever, I'm not super worried about that. I can just take it to the car wash, and then once it's all wet and soapy, just scrape it off, I'm sure. But right now I'm mostly worried about, is this actually going to hold or not? So let's see. So it's hard to tell how much of the give is the window seal compared to just the van. The whole van can shake, and the whole panel here can kind of move a little bit if you press into it, so it's a little bit hard to tell. This side is easier to tell that it's definitely got some gap in there. The other side, I feel like it's a little bit less. So I only got a couple more pieces. It's still up there for now, but let's see what happens when I get those last pieces off. Okay, so the bottom seems pretty good. It's really the top that is pretty loose. And I know why that is, because when we were putting it in, a bunch of it got scraped off onto here, which was a huge pain to clean up. And so there's probably barely anything actually on that top part. I don't know what can be done about that besides like trying to pry this off of here, because there obviously is a bunch of that is sealed onto here. Yeah, I mean, it's something I would like to fix, but I don't really know how, because I don't know how to remove this partially sealed window. I'm gonna hop in the back and see what it looks like in there. See if there's enough of a gap to put stuff up into here. Definitely is, some separation here, but I don't think I'm gonna be able to get the end of that tube of stuff into there. So I might, what am I gonna do here? What have I done? I'll do the white stuff on the outside, and then I think on the inside I might take that black stuff, heat it up again, and just try to get it just all over here and up in the edges as much as I can to help hold that. So I'm gonna have to bring up that little heater because it's getting real cold out here real fast, and I want to make sure this all dries properly. So I'm gonna grab that heater, and if it ends up getting dark, it ends up getting dark, but I want to make sure this is done right and doesn't fall off when I'm trying to drive tomorrow or something. Okay, so I put this tape all around the outer edge of the outside of the window. You can't see it from this angle. I'm trying to warm my hands up here. This tape is the worst goddamn tape I've ever used in my life. They have it marked on here that it's, I don't know if you're going to see this in this lighting because it's got this fucking green on blue, but it says it's sharp lines. It's from Scotch, you know, painter's tape. Every time you can't get sharp, you can't get just regular straight lines, sharp lines. Every time you peel this, it just peels into all tiny little pieces. It was the biggest pain in the ass. I'm out there in the goddamn cold. My hands are fucking numb from the cold and the wind trying to peel this piece of shit tape. So would never in a million years recommend this for anything. Sharp lines is a bunch of bullshit. It's you can't get any less of a sharp line with this thing. It's terrible. It took freaking forever to try to cover that window because I was just getting little pieces over and over and over instead of actually being able to peel a real piece of tape straight off. So absolute bullshit. I'm pissed off at that. I'm gonna go try to get this stuff on the outside going around. I don't think I'm really gonna get anything on the top, which is where I kind of want it the most, because that's where, you know, water would be coming down. But because it's pushed up right against that ledge, I don't think there's really anywhere to put this. I don't know, I'll take a look when I'm out there and I'm slightly less pissed off. One good thing to note, those vent screen things still on there, even with that little bit of just sticky stuff that's on the back of it and the Velcro. Drove down the highway, no problem. So happy about that. Also, I think this window is going to be like perfect because the only issue with this one was the top, from what I can tell, and this one had just way less sealant, was not done as well, and this one was put on really cleanly, had way more sealant, so that one should be really good. Okay, so my hands are so cold. I'm back inside real quick. But I put the that white sealant going around the edge there. Nothing really at the top because, like I said, it's just pushed up right against the that one edge. So that's all in there. I'm gonna go back outside, grab the that black sealant stuff, and bring it in here to heat up, and switch out the stuff on the caulk gun. Take it out there and do that inside, and then I think I'm done. I think I'll deal with the other window like tomorrow or something, because it's just too damn cold to be working out there, especially dealing with the tape. With if it weren't for the tape, I could like have my gloves on, but now I already got caulk all over my hand, shit. So it's just like, you know what, let's just get this job over with. I'm at least done with the outside part of the job. So I will put that sealant on there. And then I think that's gonna be it. I was thinking about, should I re-duct tape the window, but at this point I have the sealant on the outside, so I really can't do that. So I'm just hoping that freaking holds while I'm driving, because I did not think about that part. Alright, let's see what happens. Okay, so I just filled in everything I could going along here. I mean, you can't really see anything, everything's just black. But so I just did that. I'm gonna go outside, push that top in towards the van, make sure it's pushed up there, and I'm gonna grab the duct tape and I'm gonna tape it along the top because I didn't do any sealant on the outside along the top, so it's fine to tape up there, won't be messing anything up, and that'll give it that extra hold, so this hopefully all settles in and can actually hold it. I really hope this is the last time I have to use this black sealant, because my hands were almost 100% clean, and now they are just worse than ever probably. Alright, I'm gonna get that duct tape on here and get the hell out of here because it's cold, and yeah, I think I'm just still kind of pissed off at that blue tape. So yeah, I gotta clean everything up and get it all out of here. Alright, so it is, what is it, Tuesday after work. It had been cold all day, so I'm definitely not going to be doing any additional sealant or anything like that. It's too cold. But so you can see, this turned out pretty good. It feels pretty solid. Up here it feels a lot better. Granted, there still is duct tape on it, but it seems to really be holding on there better now after I put that stuff on the inside. So tomorrow's going to be a lot warmer. Oh, I think it's starting to rain. Didn't realize it was going to rain today. I thought it was supposed to like snow this morning, and that never happened. Anyway, so I'll make this quick. So that kind of changes my plans here. It was supposed to just be warm tomorrow, and then the day after that rain. And so I figured I'll just leave this all up here until tomorrow, and then that way when it's warm and not raining, I can do, you know, the final bit of sealant on the other side, you know, going around the white stuff and make sure everything's all secure. I don't know if it's raining or sleeting. It's pretty cold out. I don't know. So yeah, this should all be fine for now though, because that's pushed up all the way against the top and has, you know, blue tape there plus the duct tape, and has sealant all around. The other side is still fully duct tape all around it, totally secure, so that's fine. So yeah, everything should be good. Hopefully I don't come out here tomorrow morning and find a bunch of melted water or ice in the back of my pan. But I think everything should be good. Alright, so I'm gonna get inside before it get any more wet and cold out here. Alright guys, it is Wednesday. It's time to get the tape off these windows, see how they are doing. So I'm going to put that awful blue tape around that one after I get all the duct tape off, and then put the that white sealant going around just like I did on the other one. I'm guessing that one's going to be sealed in a lot better than the first one was, so I shouldn't need to deal with any of that black sealant, which is good because that stuff is just a pain in the ass. And then after I do the outside, I'm going to come back in here quick, and I also just want to do just kind of going around the edge just to be really kind of just secure about it, making sure that everything's as sealed up as it's going to get. That way there should be no reason there should ever be issues with leaking or anything. Just over seal it, just seal the crap out of it. So yeah, so I'm going to do that on both of them. So yeah, I'm going to get there and start ripping off duct tape and just really hope everything is being held in place by that sealant. Okay, so here is window number one that we did. Kind of push on the top here. Seems to have pretty much no give whatsoever now. Seems to be much more secure. So it's looking good other than all the terrible leftover duct tape marks. So I definitely need to do something about that. I would like to put some of that silicone or caulk or whatever the hell you call it in this area here, but I don't know how I would get it in there without just making a huge mess all over it, because it's a really narrow space in there. There's not a lot of room in there. I mean, you can't really see it on the camera. So yeah, it is looking good. This came out pretty well. Didn't seem to make any kind of major mess because I had that tape on there. So the only thing to do here really seems to be dealing with all this tape. I'm not going to worry about that right now because I'm sure once we get that rainstorm tomorrow, that'll help loosen up some of it. But it's not even really crazy stuck on there. You can see just taking a couple seconds there and got a hunk of it off. So I'm going to go to the other side and take down that tape. Hopefully it is all nice and secure and I don't have to redo the black sealant stuff on it like I did on this one on the back side. And then I'll just put that blue tape on there and then put the sealant going around the edge. hop inside, do that stuff, and we'll be done for the day already. Okay, so as you can see, the tape is a disaster over here as well, but not worry about that right this second. So just looking over here, there is a gap on this upper part of the window going around here, but it doesn't push in like on the other side really, so it doesn't seem like it's really loose. It seems like it's securely in there. It's just maybe there's so much that sealant on there that it kind of pushed out. It was like too thick or something, doing the 2 lines on it, or maybe it's just a little bit too high and it's kind of caught on this a little bit, but like I said, it's not really going in, and it's super tight up here. I mean, it's up on that ledge here, so it seems like it's really secure there. So I'm just gonna do the sealant just like I did on the other one there. I'm not going to worry about putting any black stuff on the back because it doesn't seem to be in any way loose. It's just there's a little bit of a gap. So yeah, I'm going to put the tape on there and get that going. Okay, so that's all covered. Go along all those edges there, obviously, other than the very top part. My hand is covered in that stuff from trying to smooth it all out and make it nice. So I'm going to go try to wash this off a bit, grab some paper towel, come out here and do the inside, and hopefully make less of a mess on the inside because it's the inside. Okay, so inside here, this is all taped up here. I taped going around the outside of it. I didn't really need to do that, but I did it. But then the more important part was taping along the inside. So I just left that gap there. So I basically taped along, there's that big part of the frame and then that little part that was sticking up. That you guys probably saw in the last video. So I just taped going all along there, and then here I just figured out just tape wherever because there is no frame on that part, and went all the way around. So that way when I build the wall, if I have it go to this frame, there won't be any of that caulk showing then. So yeah, so I'm just gonna go along. I mean, this area up here, it's getting kind of dark in here, so it's probably hard to see on the video. But this already has all that black stuff in it, so I don't think there's really much that's gonna happen there. But just go all the way around, you know, maybe fill up the this random hole here because of this piece that's left down there. I was thinking about taking this off, but then I realized like basically the only way to do that would be cutting it, and I would end up cutting into the other thing, which would be a disaster. So it's like, I'm just gonna leave it there, whatever. So there's just these random things sticking out. But yeah, before I caulk, I'm gonna do the same taping over here. That way the taping is all done, and then I can just caulk one, caulk the other, and just all the mess happen at once basically, instead of getting covered in caulk again, then taping again, then getting covered in caulk again. Yeah, so that is the game plan. I will update you as I go along. Alright, so this is the other one, taped. Same kind of thing I did over there. So I'm going to grab that caulk gun. This one I think is going to be a little bit more awkward to work with because there was so much sealant on this one that it's probably tough to see with the lighting in here, but it's got these beads all hanging out here. But yeah, so I'm just doing my best to go around and seal it up, and just, I don't know, work my way around these giant freaking black sealant blobs hanging out here. I actually thought about maybe like chopping these off, but I figured there's gonna be more sealant there. It's gonna be covered up with a wall, so like whatever. It's not really a big deal. So yeah, let me grab the sealant and then do both of these, and it'll be time to get inside before it's even completely dark outside yet. All right, so here's window number one. So basically just went down here, went all the way across and up, and then I smoothed it all out with my finger, going, you know, kind of bit by bit, and as my finger would be kind of covered in the sealant, I basically just wipe it along there just to reuse it, rather than, you know, wiping it on the bottle or on my coat or something. I just went, you know, about halfway across with that, and then I just put a little bit line going across the rest of the way, and then just smear that with my finger as well going across. So yeah, so that's all sealed there now. Obviously just gonna leave the tape on there while it all dries up so it stays nice and clean. And now I will do this side and we'll be all done here. Just time to clean the crap out of my hands. All right, and there is window 2. This one was a little bit awkward to do because of all those beads of that black sealant kind of hanging out, but just worked around them best I could. Looks to be really good, and this one is really nice and secure compared to that first one when I took off the duct tape the first time around. And this one though feels really good now after putting that extra sealant in there. So I'm happy with how these both have come out so far. Seem to be doing great. I guess tomorrow when I leave for work will be like the real test, because this is the first time I'll be driving with absolutely no duct tape on them at all. The only tape that's on them right now is the this painter's tape for going around the sealant. So fingers crossed everything goes good and no windows fall out onto the side of the highway. Okay. So it is the first big rainstorm, and there's already some issues. It's probably hard to tell here. It's pretty cloudy today with all this rain, but I came out here for lunch and there's water all over on this side. This was the first window that had some issues, so I need to work on sealing along the top here better. Yeah, there's water just going all kinds of spots going across the top. They're leaking down, and then I was hoping that when I turn around this one would be good, but there's also a puddle forming here, so there's water leaking up here as well. So I mean, I can't do anything about it right now. I'm just here at work. I don't have any sealant with me. Best I have is that little towel. So I'll just wipe this up, and I guess when I get home I'll work on doing some more sealant on the inside anyway. I can't really do anything about the outside with all this rain, and try to see what I can do there to plug up whatever small holes are happening there. The nice thing about having this so close to the top is, it's higher up and everything, but the bad thing is on the other side it's pushed up against that edge that comes out, so I can't really do a lot of sealant on the outside, unless I just say screw it and just put it like along the top edge of the window, and just not even care about what it ends up looking like. So that's what we're working with. Definitely some work that needs to be done here, especially now that we're getting closer to spring. There's going to be more rain, so I don't want this to just keep happening. Definitely need to clean this up, and then like I said, when I get home I'll see what I can do to remedy this situation. It is Saturday morning. So yesterday I was planning on doing that sealant going around the outside of the windows and extra on the inside, because of those leaks obviously, but by the time I got home it was like 42 degrees I think. I was like, that's like right on the border of when you're supposed to be using that sealant, and so I decided to say, you know what, I'm not gonna do it. I really want this sealant to work because I don't want any more leaks. Today it's supposed to be up in the 50s, so I'm gonna get out there and do that. Right now it's still like freezing cold out there though. I think it was like in like the 20s maybe even. So for right now I'm just gonna work on stuff in here, just get my breakfast and things like that, and then once it gets a little bit warmer out there I will get out there. Plan for today is doing that sealant around the those windows. I realize sometimes I point to things at the camera, like on my phone, and you guys can't see that. So you'll see it along the top. I didn't want to have to put it up there just because of the way that's placed up against that ridge. I don't think it's going to end up looking great, but I would rather have it look less great and not have water coming inside than the other way around. So I'm going to do that on both sides since both of them were leaking from the top. Also add more sealant on the inside, especially going across the top, which is going to be kind of a pain in the ass because I put all that black sealant on the inside of this one, the first one that went in, and then on the other side we have all those giant beads that are sticking out from the top. So yeah, so black sealant seems to be doing a good job of holding it in there, but it seems that it doesn't do a great job of keeping the water out, because there was tons of black sealant on both sides along the top and it came through anyway. So that's what I'm going to do there with the windows, and then I'm going to take so the sealant I'm using there is the non-self leveling, because if I use self leveling it would basically just leak down the side of the van. So I have that, and then I have to have the self-leveling that I'm eventually going to be using for like stuff on the roof. So I'm trying to decide which one I want to use. I want to do around the whole edge of the inside of the van, along the walls, where it's going to be hidden anyway. So on the one hand, it's like a flat surface, so I feel like the self-leveling would be the better choice there. But I don't know how self-leveling it is. Maybe I'll try to look up like a video or something, because I don't want the sealant to basically just ooze all over the floor. Like I don't know how liquidy and how much it flattens out. I just want it to stay in the corner. So yeah, that's the plan for the start of the day, and then we'll see kind of how far I get. Tomorrow I have a really busy day, so I don't think it's going to be a very big weekend for the van. I do at some point. I have a ladder now. I got one specifically for the van, not like designed for the van, but it's I think they call it like a telescoping ladder. Basically, it kind of like shrinks up. I thought it was going to be a lot smaller than it is. Actually, it's pretty big and it's real heavy, but I have it out in the van right now. So I figure that way it'll be easier to travel with, because it shrinks down, and then I can make it, bigger than I even need. They had an 8-foot option, and this van is like 8 point something feet. And I figured if you're leaning up against the side, you're angling it. I figured 8 foot was probably not going to really do it. So I got one. I think it might have been like 12 feet or something like that. So yeah, so I'm gonna figure out where I'm going to be placing everything, figure out how I'm going to get that fan in there in between those, I don't know what you want to call them, braces or whatever that go along the inside. Because the solar panels will be easy. The only thing I have to really cut for the solar panels is just a hole to put the wires through, and then I just have to figure out exactly where I'm placing them. But the fan is just so big that when I was holding up that little plastic thing in there a couple weeks ago, I was trying to figure out exactly where I could even put it, where I wouldn't end up having to cut into any of those braces. So they seem pretty important, and they also seem like they'd be pretty tough to cut through. So that's the plan for the day. I don't see a lot happening this weekend, because I am going to have to, along with all the stuff I have to do tomorrow, I do still need to, cook and all that, get ready for work for the week. So that's where we are at, just waiting for it to warm up a little bit. Right, so it is just not warming up out here nearly as fast as I thought it was, considering how warm it's supposed to get today apparently. So I brought out the little heater. This is that ladder that I was talking about. There it is. It's a I don't know what it's called. I just found it on Amazon. So while I wait for this to become a little bit warmer in here, because it's still too cold to do any kind of sealant, I'm gonna clean up some of this box and styrofoam and all that junk. But yeah, so these are the windows. So never even took off the tape inside, which actually works out because I can just leave it right there and work on more of that sealant today. Some of the insulation did get wet, but I don't see any real issues with it now, because it's wool, so it's kind of meant to handle dampness better than other insulation types. So I'm really glad that I went with that now after all that happened. So yeah, still, I think it is above freezing now, but it's still below that 40-degree mark, and it's chilly out here for sure. So like I said, gonna let this just run, get it warmer in here, and just clean up some stuff. I'm gonna clean up this stuff. I still have the metal from where I cut out the windows out there, so I'm gonna get rid of that. And then hopefully by the time I get done with all that, between just the temperature rising outside, hopefully, along with the heater in here, it'll actually be somewhat warm, and I can get going on this sealant. If not, then I guess I'll just start ripping some stuff out of boxes, go grab that fan, and start just kind of playing around with it and seeing where everything's gonna go. Alright, so I checked the weather. It has hit 40, so it's right there at that border of temperature. Heater's been running out here for a few minutes, whatever, while I clean up some stuff. I got rid of the hunks of metal out there. I also got rid of, I've had forever just sitting out there, the piece that used to fit down in that step that I took out weeks ago. I just had laying out there forever, so I got rid of that. Obviously I cleaned up all the mess that was in here. So I'm going to go ahead and I think I'm just going to do the outside first, even though it's still kind of chilly, but it's just going to get warmer and warmer, and that way that sealant is already on there. And then after that I will switch out that sealant with the self-leveling stuff and do the inside in here. And then I guess I'm going to break out this ladder and get the fan. I have the fan in my trunk and I have all the solar stuff in here obviously, so then I will start working on figuring out what's going to be happening in here. Okay, so before I tape along here and then do the sealant, I want to get this off here, because if any sealant gets on top of this, when I eventually do get this off, it's going to ripping that sealant off. Obviously, you know, at the slowest point, there's not being a sealant, but there is potential where it could be up here, touching that. It's pretty stuck on there. I was just trying to get it a bit off and it was not working out. So I'm going to work at that. So that's what that side looks like. And this one is probably even more of a mess, I would say. So definitely have some work to do to get that junk off of there. Okay, so this is what we're working with. The other side is cleaned off. Now I'm starting to work on this side. This is what we're working with. Basically using rubbing alcohol on a towel, putting it on all the spots there, and then taking this. This is not the right type of razor to be using. This is a safety razor used for shaving, but I am instead using it to scrape off this carefully, because it has a blade on each side and it's flexible as opposed to the ones that you're supposed to actually be using. But it worked halfway decently on the other side, so hoping that it works out over here as well, and then I can get this taped up and work on that sealant. Okay, so I don't know if this is just getting dull after doing the other side, but it's feeling a lot slower over here. I started actually on the bottom here, and you can see it left some gunk. Didn't even really, it took off the majority of it, but still left some stuff. And now I'm up here and it's just taking forever. I tried applying more and more alcohol and it's not really doing anything else, so I'm gonna grab a different one and see if maybe that's the issue. It's just dulled out from scraping all that tape off on the other side. Okay, so this side is just much more of a pain in the ass for some reason. I can't figure out why. I've applied tons of the rubbing alcohol in here. I grabbed that new blade and I'm using that, and I mean, it's taking forever. Even when I do get stuff off, it leaves that residue behind. So yeah, so I'm just gonna keep working. I don't really have any other options of what to do, so yeah, I'm just ignoring the bottom stuff for now because I don't need to worry about that other than just for making it look nice. Main thing, I want to get this off here so I can actually do the sealant. Okay, so this is what it's looking like. Get up here closer. So all that's left is this kind of residual layer of gunk. It's a little bit sticky, but it's nowhere near as thick as this stuff that's still up here that I have to figure out how I'm going to eventually remove, because I don't know if I'm supposed to be taking a razor blade to, you know, the side of the van. It's painted and everything. But yeah, so I'm going to say that's just good enough because I cannot get this stuff off of here. It is just taking forever. So I'm going to tape up both sides and throw on that sealant going along here, and then leaving that to dry and working on stuff inside. Okay, so all taped up there. You can see I left a little bit opening for the window part itself here. Didn't really tape anything up here because I'm just going to be kind of injecting it into this kind of crack going along, so I don't predict there being any major mess, and if there is, this stuff is a lot easier to clean up than the black stuff, so it's not really a big deal. So yeah, I'm just going to do that, and then the other side is taped up exact same way. Go do that on that side, and then it'll be time to go inside and start working on stuff. So along with doing up top here, which I did that, already got all spread out and stuff, I noticed that there's some little gaps here. I don't think that camera's really in focus there, but there's some gaps going along the edges I already did, so I'm just going to touch those up. You can see a nice big one there. While I'm at it, I got the sealant stuff out here anyway, so I'm just going to touch up those little spots and then go on to the other side. Okay, so side 1 and 2 are done on the outside. Did the top as well as this side. Had a couple, you know, those holes over on this corner, but everything else seems to be pretty good on there. So yeah, so just gonna let that dry, and I'm gonna head inside and work on doing the sealant going along the upper part of the window. Okay, so on each of these, I just added a bunch of that white sealant going across. Lightly kind of smushed it down a little bit, but just really made sure that I coated it. Same thing over here. So I'm just gonna let that dry, and this one over here seemed to have some stuff where I could see some kind of, you know, little gaps, kind of like what was on the outside of the window in some spots. So I made sure to definitely fill those on along with just coating everything else. This one I couldn't really tell. I'm thinking it was issues with those spots where those giant beads were sticking out. So I just coated everything I could, and I'm hoping really the thing that really helps is the stuff on the outside for both of the windows. That way there's no water even getting in, you know, in between the metal and the glass here, just sitting there. You know, I wanted to completely stop it from even getting in anywhere at all, because that could potentially be an issue if water gets in between and then can't leak out, and then it freezes and expands. That could be a real issue. So I'm really hoping this stuff on the outside really does all the real work, and this is just added, you know, just really trying to protect it even more. So that's all done. I guess the next step is switching out the sealant, getting that self-leveling stuff, and we do like a little test spot, probably, you know, somewhere in the corner, somewhere, you know, not noticeable, and just kind of let it sit there, see what exactly happens with this self-leveling stuff, and then yeah, probably end up just going all the way across, you know, the edges going around anywhere basically I put that wood filler stuff other than in the middle. I mean, I would kind of wouldn't mind putting it in the middle, but I don't think it's anything that you could like stain. It would just be this white blob just, you know, going across the floor. So I don't know how I feel about that yet. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm gonna end up doing in there, because as you can see on the crack is, I mean, it's definitely more filled in than before I put anything in there, but it's definitely becoming more and more cracked. And you can see, I mean, there's spots that were stained, and now the spot that was stained is broken and gone, and now it's just that default wood filler color. This area back here seems to be holding on a little bit better. Like I said, this really was moving before I put that cardboard underneath there. Still has some movement, you know, stepping on it, but nothing like it was before where it was really moving around. So yeah, I am going to switch out that sealant. I think I have it up there in that box of goodies. I gotta cut off the tip, and then, like I said, I'm gonna do a test because I don't know exactly what's gonna happen, so I'll just put a little spot down. I'm guessing what they mean by self-leveling is basically the time when I, you know, take my finger and smooth it all out. It basically does that, makes it a nice even level surface, as opposed to this. You know, if I didn't smooth it, it would just be this, you know, line just going across. Yeah, so that's what I'm going with. Okay, so I just put a little bit down there, and then some more was kind of oozing out, and it's still oozing out. Oh, so yeah, so definitely not, you know, super liquidy, so I don't think it's gonna be a huge problem. You know, definitely a little bit more liquidy than the other stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put this around and try not to make a mess with it. It's oozing out again. Okay, so this thing, I mean, I've already done this much of it. I thought maybe it was initially doing this because it was so full, you know, there was pressure in it from just being open. I had this literally held up straight like this the whole time while I worked on, you know, smoothing some stuff out and cleaning stuff up, and it still keeps leaking out here. I guess just because it's more liquidy than the other stuff, I don't know. So if you're using this, I would recommend giving, you know, some squeeze to get it started, and then just keep spreading it, you know, using the gun, just keep going along without actually pulling the trigger at all. Just let it, because I did that and it still is leaking out some. Not as bad as it was before when I just kept squeezing the whole time I was using it and then stopped and expected it to actually stop. But yeah, so far it seems to be working fine. I don't notice any issues. I think it's good I'm using this self-leveling stuff. It kind of is getting down into everything a little bit better than the other stuff probably would have. Like it's kind of sinking down into, you know, all the nooks and crannies, which is good. So I'm just gonna keep going here. I am gonna have to, I guess, stop at some point, do the other side, and then reorganize stuff, or maybe save the last bit for another day after the stuff dries. Yeah, that's where we are at. Okay, so I did this whole side down here. I did there as far as I could go before all that stuff was in the way. Also trying to fill in these gaps here on the side. The nice thing is that, you know, it sinks down to level it off, but then it wants to keep moving, so I have to make sure that it doesn't go out too far and end up, you know, blocking the door or anything like that. But so far seems to be working nice. Yeah, so not sure how long this one takes to dry, but I'm just gonna let it dry and probably go grab that fan and start screwing around with figuring out where everything's gonna go up here. And first I need to clean up my hands though. Alright, here is the ladder. It's not fully extended. There's a couple more things that could be pulled out there, but looks good. So I'm gonna go test it out, get on top there, and then come back down. If this is the last video, then you know that this ladder failed miserably and I died. Alright, so this is what it looks like. Looks like a roof. So yeah, ladder so far has worked. I'm gonna get back down, gonna go grab that fan and then see what we're working with. Okay, so we got the fan out here. Gotta get out of the box and everything again. But just one thing, once this stuff seems to start drying up, like I said, I don't know how long it's really gonna take. What I want to do is move this stuff over, do the last bit over there, and then I'm gonna get that sealant out and do that whole step area where nothing's actually stained, and then that way then I can eventually slap on that grass stuff and that area will just be done. So yeah, I don't know if this is gonna happen today or not. It really just depends on, like I said, I don't want to try to move all this stuff while that's still wet. One, because I don't want to end up accidentally, you know, smushing anything into it, whether, you know, the edge over here or over there. And also I want to be able to keep my eye on it just to make sure, like, all this stuff still seems good, doesn't seem to be leaking out too far, making a mess. But I definitely want to just keep my eye on it. Like, I know, you know, over here it's still kind of oozing out slowly, so I keep wiping my finger on it, trying to make sure it doesn't cause any problems. So that's the game plan. You can see over here it's kind of coming out a little bit. I'm gonna try to clean it up, probably just make a bigger mess, but like I said, I'm not super worried about how it looks, because it's all gonna be covered up anyway. But just, you know, make sure it's clear of everything. It's not gonna have any gaps where you know, water can get down there or anything. So I'm just gonna let it dry and leave it be. In the meantime, I'll screw around with this stuff and get to that later. Okay, so the fan does have instructions. There's also tons of videos about this, because Max fans are probably the most popular fans to put into a van. Basically, this piece is going to sit on top of the roof. The fan then connects to this, putting on top of there, and then this big piece, once I actually have the ceiling kind of in, I would basically figure out how tall it needs to be, cut it to size, and then stick it up there so that way it's like just flush with the ceiling. I guess so that way you're not blowing air into your ceiling, you're blowing it all down into the you know, the main living area, whatever. Yeah, so that piece is what I was working with last time. I was trying to figure out where it can fit exactly. So let me show you. I'm less worried about it now, because now I kind of realize that the ceiling's gonna be built in anyway, because at the time I was worried that it wasn't gonna really fit quite properly. As you can see, it's all the way up against that side, and then it ends up hitting here. Once I have the ceiling in, it's gonna go from, I'm trying to point at this stuff, hold on. is going to go, you know, basically along here and make it all flat. So then that piece that sticks out along the bottom where you put the screws in is going to be, you know, just up against the ceiling part. So it's not going to have to fit in between these spots at all, because that's all going to be covered up anyway. Yeah, so I basically just have to figure out where I want to stick the fan itself. Like I said, I do plan on keeping these lights in here, so I don't think I'm going to put it in this spot unless I wanted to put it off to one of the sides, because this would end up blocking part of the fan. So I'm thinking maybe I'll put it all the way to the back, and then that would give me also the most room then for solar stuff up here. So yeah, I'm going to see how well it looks like it would fit there. Figure out, maybe I'll just hold up this piece and see what it looks like over there. Yeah, and then I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to basically, it's going to be tough to do though. I was trying to think if I could basically figure out where I'm going to put it over here, and then somehow transfer that information to the roof, and then figure out the measurements for the solar panels and basically block everything out. That's going to be a little bit tricky. I'm trying to figure out exactly where this spot is unless I'm putting the holes in there. Something else that I want to do at some point is take probably just that painter's tape and kind of just start mapping everything out, because at some point I need to put in a small vent over here. Then we have a little fan connected with for like an exhaust. And I also have to figure out, you know, measurement as far as like, I think I'm gonna do, you know, the bed, blah 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 system over there, which means I'm also gonna have to map out where the table holder thingies are. I need to put in that little vent thing because I'm gonna have the composting toilet somewhere right in this area, and then I'm gonna have, I think I'm probably gonna do fridge somewhere on this side, and then water over there. I have to do some measurements for that, which is why I'm trying to plan this out. Because if I can get the water over there, I could have it also open on the outside to make it easier to get the water jugs in and out, possibly. Like I said, I have to do measurements, and that also will help me then with wiring the electric stuff, which is going to be coming up soon. As you can tell, maybe start working on solar at some point. So I need to be able to plan, is the fridge going to be over here, or is it going to be over there? And everything else, got to figure out, you know, where all these different types of wires need to be going to. So yeah, by the way, it has definitely warmed up. I actually have the little windows open here, along with the back doors. So I'm gonna just start screwing around with stuff, try not to step in any of the sealant and make a mess, and hopefully get a decent plan of where this is gonna go and where the panels are gonna go. Okay, so I think I am going to end up having to at least partially cut into one of these things. It says in the instructions it's got to be like a 14 by 14 hole, and when I measured, it seems like these are not including this part. This actually went from here over. The biggest one seems to be like exactly 14 by 14, so I would still end up cutting into the edge of it. But if I do it here, there's the issue with this light, so it would have to be off center. If I do it out here, I feel like that's just too far over. It's going to be taking up a ton of space then. Just being like right in the middle of the van. Also, I would prefer it to be more towards the back. That way it can pull in air, you know, going throughout the whole van up, or, you know, push it down in. And having it, you know, more over the bed. So I'm not going to mess with this light. Like I said, I want to be able to leave these in here. So I just realized, what the hell is that thing? Is that what's holding it up there? Like some weird rubbery... Maybe that's just like a make it so it doesn't bounce around and cause any damage. Yeah, I think it's only being actually held up by this. Weird. Anyway, so I am going to... I think I'm going to do it back here. Which means I will have to cut somewhat into this. That's what I'm thinking right now. Maybe I'll get the measurements of the panels, see what I'm working with. If I put it out there in the middle, it's not the worst thing in the world you know, in terms of airflow and stuff, it's not bad. But I'm just more worried about, I don't know the length of the panels, if they can go this direction, you know, like long ways going across. Because if they have to go that way, and this is right in the middle, that's gonna really screw it up. If they can fit long ways, maybe I could fit, you know, like one over here, and I have another like over there. It's not super efficient. You gotta run more wiring then and stuff because they're gonna be far apart. Let me do some more measurements and figure out what I'm gonna do. All right, so I just looked up on Renogy's website, and these panels should be about 42 and a half inches by 20. So I'm gonna use that information to figure out where they could fit up here, and from there be able to figure out where I'm gonna be putting the fan. All right, so basically, if you put them side by side, they're basically more or less 40 by 40. It's actually, you know, 42 and a half. Each of them are 20 inches wide. If you account for a little bit of a gap in between them, so it's about a big square essentially that you're working with. So they can fit going across this way lengthwise. When they go, you know, either way, whether they're laying lengthwise this way or that way, they're going to end up extending. If I put them, you know, in the back from, you know, here going out, they end up going you know, at least part way into this, you know, block, we'll call it. So it's a pretty big setup. They're gonna take up basically, you know, like what you figure about half of the roof if you're not including, you know, that front area. So I'm not gonna put it. Obviously, I can't put it here because if I put it here, that basically screws up the whole solar setup at that point. Let me look at that. 1, 2. This is a little bit different of a material, like a different shape here. I don't know if this is where it starts curving. That wouldn't be a good idea to put it there. I'm thinking that the fan's gonna have to go all the way in the back, even if I have to cut. Well, I'm definitely gonna have to cut into that at least a little bit, and then the panels are just gonna basically just wherever that fan ends, just go from there. That seems like the best way of doing it. The only other thing I could think is if I did the fan up here, you have the least amount of cutting going into these things. The panels might be able to fit, you know, figure that's 3 sections there. We have 1, 2, and 3. But this, how it switches here, I think this is where it starts to somewhat curve down. I'm not sure, you know, how it goes down there. And that's not going to work for these solar panels. So basically, if that is a curve there, they would basically sit flush, you know, flat down onto this part, have a slight overhang here where they're not sticking down because they're solar panels. They're not going to curve. They're not like the flexible kind of solar panels. And then once you get going to a certain speed, that wind's going to get under there, and I think it's going to be goodbye solar panels. And probably also damaging the roof from 1, ripping them off, and 2, the wiring trying to get ripped out. So yeah, I'm not going to do that. So I think that's going to be the game plan, putting the fan all the way to the back as far as I can go, and then just solar panels just in front of that. So yeah, trying to think how much do I want to do today, because I do need to kind of save some of my energy arms for stuff tomorrow. So I don't know if I actually want to get up there and start putting that in or not. I mean, I really do want to get some of the stuff in. Solar panels, I actually found an online guide. Instead of screwing them in, I actually have this some kind of special tape. It's not the butyl tape. Butyl tape I'm using on this stuff for, like, I don't know, sealant sticking on there or whatever. I'm also using a screw. I don't know. I found some online guide. I just bought what they told me to buy. I don't know. But there's some kind of other sticky stuff, and basically it just holds it down. People have been using it, and they said that their solar panels have been on their van for years, and they've never had an issue with it. So I figured that's going to be easier than a bunch of little screws and having to seal around each screw to make sure there's no leaks and stuff. So that's what I'm going with. So who knows, maybe I'll end up measuring out this and then just sticking the solar panels up there, because I'm saying it doesn't seem hard, but so far that's basically been wrong every time I said that, so it's probably going to be a huge pain in the ass. I don't know, I'll figure out what I'm going to do next. I'm going to check on the dryness from here. It looks like it's still got a good shine and wetness on the sealant stuff, so I don't really want to start messing with everything in here yet. So, yeah, I don't know, I'll figure out. Maybe I'll even open up that door carefully and get all that wood out of there on that side and work on the sealant. I'm going to do something today. I don't know what. Okay, so here we are. Got all the wood out there. Got cardboard in between it and the van, so hopefully it shouldn't cause any damage. So I swept it out here. There's some kind of footsteps on there, you can see. But remember, this will be covered up with that green stuff anyway, so I'm not really worried if it looks like that. But to the touch, it's fine, so I think it would be a-okay to seal. This piece I still haven't put on there. Oh, look at that, Finland. I have to figure out where the hell I wanted this to be on here. Somewhere I wanted to screw this in here. So yeah, I'm gonna put that on there. Gotta find the screws, gotta get the drill out. That's the last piece that needs to go in here. But I think first I'm gonna stain all this stuff so it's easier to get in there rather than working, above and underneath and all that with this piece. Yeah, I'm gonna get that. What the hell is it? Sealant. Is that it? I forget what the hell. It's not stain. I don't know. I've just said it before. I think it's sealant. Whatever the hell it's called. I'm gonna get that out. Get the little paintbrush I got for it. Do all this stuff. And then once that's all dry and everything, I can figure out how I'm putting in that green stuff on here. I didn't really plan that out. Somehow I'm gonna cut it to this shape and attach it in some way. And then this whole area will be like done up here, and I can just put the those jack tools down in here for storage. That's where they've been sitting, but I can just put them down there once everything's dry, and everything will be good in here. One thing that is a pain in the ass is sweeping this out. The other side I can just sweep everything just straight out, no problem, but here it gets down into here, and then it has this block on here basically, so it's really hard to get stuff actually out of this bottom white area, that track going along here. But no big deal. So I'm gonna get that sealant stuff and get it going. All right, so this is it. I popped the lid off. I literally thought that there was like some kind of paper or something I was gonna have to take off there. And then when I looked at the lid, it was like, oh wait, that's it. That's the polyacrylic protective finish, as they call it. So yeah, they said it was gonna be kind of like milky color, but then once it dries, it's supposed to be totally clear on there, like not even noticeable, and it'll just look like wood, except it'll be protected apparently. This part of the wood obviously won't be visible because it's gonna have the green stuff on it, but then these parts here are gonna be still just left visible. I'm not gonna stain it or anything else to it. So alright, so I'm going to get this brush open here, and it says to give it a little bit of stirring and then just apply it, let it sit for 2 hours, and then if I want to put on more coats, it says give it a light sanding and then apply a coat, let it sit for 2 more hours, over and over until you're done with however many coats you want. I guess I'm just going to do 1 coat. I don't entirely get the purpose of doing a whole bunch of coats, but I guess I'll just see what it looks like after 1 coat, and if I feel like I did a bad job, like there's spots missing or something, I'll do more coats. Alright, so trying to film this here. Basically, all it looks like is just looks wet once it goes on. So that's it. I just that little portion there. So just wanted to show you what it looks like, and now I'm gonna just keep on going here. Okay, so all this top section, this section, these going all the way around are sealed or whatever you want to call it. I do want to do this piece as well. I have to figure out where I can put it while it's drying. I don't know if it would end up sticking to something else if they dried on top of each other. I'm also going to try to get just whatever I can get in here, just along the edges there. And then this section will be just sitting here for 2 hours, it says, and then I'll check out, see what it looks like. Right, something that is really weird about this stuff is that if you're going up against kind of like an edge, I end up getting this like bubbly kind of substance. I noticed it was a little bit on these when I was working with them, but yeah, it's kind of weird. You can really see it right there on that one. I don't know if it's just gonna dry a big glob like that, but under here, nobody's gonna see it anyway, and it's really tough to get in there with this size of a brush. So I'm just gonna let it be. So that's all done. Other than that piece, I think maybe I'll just lay that on like a piece of cardboard and hope that the side that I'm laying on it doesn't get stuck. Maybe I'll like prop it up against something. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But I'll get that one done so that way once all this dries, I can just screw that in there and we should be good to go. And then I'll figure out how I am getting that green stuff to stay on there. Alright, so I just put it up here, kind of propped up but not really touching the other wood a whole lot, to get some kind of like dirt specks on there, just because when I was brushing it, it ended up touching on there and spreading on there, but nothing crazy. I think it's fine. So I'm going to try to seal this up with the hammer and not make a huge mess, and then move on to whatever I'm doing next for while I wait for this for 2 hours. Okay, so back out here. I took a little lunch break after I finished the sealant stuff over there. Now I'm going to finish that last little bit of whatever you want to call it, I guess other sealant going across the edge there, and then take it from there. Alright, so I put it all over that section. Now I came over here. I think this is where I basically started, and I just tapped my finger to it. It's definitely much more solidified than when it initially was on there, but it's still wet and kind of sticky when I touched it. So I'm not going to do anything with that stuff yet. As far as, measuring stuff and putting the tape down, figuring out where things are going to go. Can I leave that for whenever that's actually dry? That stuff still has, I think, a ways to go. Probably like an hour or more for dry time. That sealant on the wood out there. I gotta do something with all this stuff now. Either pack it back up or do something. Oh yeah. Trying to think what would be the next logical thing. I mean, I feel like the fan is the next thing, but that is going to be one hell of a job to get all up there. And I don't know if I should be doing that this weekend, or if that's something I should save for some other time. Kind of want to rip this open, but I also don't want to have tons of stuff just open in here, especially with all the wet sealant. Even when it's not wet, just having stuff floating around in here. I'd rather have it nice and packaged up if I'm not actually going to be using it right now. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do right now. I still have plenty of time in the day. I might end up packing up the fan and going and do like grocery shopping, stuff like that, get that out of the way while stuff just dries. Yeah, once this is dry, I can screw in that one piece of wood that I got drying over there and put the green stuff down. I wouldn't mind putting up those solar panels today. Only thing is, like I said, I would have to figure out exactly where this is going to be so I know how much room I have to put them over here, because that shouldn't be too crazy of a job. The biggest thing would be just getting them up there, and then I should be able to just stick them down with that stuff like it says, and I only have to make a much smaller hole to run the wires through as compared to making a giant hole for this thing. So I'll figure out what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I'm up here. I'm gonna have to get a new tape measure at some point because I'm still having issues where it pulls in by itself. So now at 41 instead of so here's 45. So depending on which way I want this facing, these solar panels, we'll just say 45 for now. Going down here, that leaves that much space over there, which just from eyeballing it seems to be well more than 14 by 14. So yeah, so I'm thinking, I don't know for sure, I'm not gonna just assume this and start cutting things or anything, but it seems like this area here is probably where I should start measuring that 14 inches going out. Yeah, just based on what I saw inside where it had that kind of lip. Though I don't know, it seems pretty deep. Is that right? I don't know. Definitely not gonna just assume it and cut only from seeing this side. I'm definitely gonna make the holes going up into it first whenever I do the fan. But I think I'm gonna rip open those solar panels and see where the connections are, how much wiring I have to work with, figure out which way they should be facing, and then that way I know, kind of get a better idea of where I'm gonna stick them up here and where the hole's gonna be for the wire going on. Okay, so I brought it out here so there's more space. So first step for putting these up there is to get these brackets onto the panels. All these were in there with the brackets, so I gotta figure out what actually goes to what to hook these up. The only instructions I found so far is this, which is for the, I guess this is like the charge controller, so it's not really coupled quite yet, so maybe there's some stuff in here. Okay, so no instructions in the box or in between the panels. I did find this, but this is just for the Bluetooth whatever thing. I guess I'm just gonna see what fits. I'm gonna go ahead and guess these are the ones I want, and these are probably if you're actually gonna be drilling this stuff into something. And I would assume there's two of them because it came with kind of double the brackets because there's two panels. So that is my current assumption, and I don't have anything else really to work with. So that's what I'm going with. Okay, so from the article I see online and from just looking at it, the best I can figure is this is the way you're kind of supposed to put it on there. I thought originally it was going to be for these smaller holes, but there's no way to make those both line up with the hole at the same time. So it looks like it's supposed to be lined up like this. It has these edges there to kind of hold it in place. But the people online that are, I'm kind of following their information to use this with that sticky stuff, are saying kind of flip this around, do it this way, where it lines up, and that way it will take up less roof space because, I mean, this is going to be the same hookup, everything's going to be the same, it's just that instead of this sticking way out here, it's now all directly underneath. That way these can fit side by side easier, and instead of having this, this one sticking way out and the one from that one sticking way out, so that's an extra, I don't know, was it an inch, 2 inches, whatever the hell that is. I'm not good at that kind of stuff, but and then you got double it because it's going to be one for each of them. So yeah, that's what I'm going for. I'm gonna hook these up going along here, I guess. I don't really understand what all these different, like they have another hole over here, but I don't know how you would ever even use that. And then these ones over on this side, I mean, if you have this here already, you can't have anything there, so kind of weird. Not entirely sure what's supposed to happen here, so I'm just gonna start putting them on here and see basically how many I can use. Should be able to use half of these and then use the other half on that one. Okay, so I got the first one on. Put the actual kind of like bolt part itself going inside, coming out, and then it has washer and the nut there. Basically just push it all the way over into the corner and all the way up, so these, I don't know, teeth or whatever you want to call them, kind of clamp down right there. Again, just going off of whatever just looks right, because there's not a lot of clear instructions. I didn't go crazy on tightening it just because this is the first one and I'm kind of just experimenting. I'm going to just keep going around now and adding more to it. Okay, so I just discovered that there's also another piece in that bag, so I'm going to add that somewhere onto that contraption. Maybe I'll put this big one on here and then put the little one with that. We'll see how it looks. Okay, so all four are on here, so that seems to be the right amount. Four. I'm looking left over. There's four washers in there. I don't know if I'm also supposed to put a washer on the outside, along with the little mini washer thing. I don't really know what I'm supposed to do with that. There's no clear instructions. So I guess I'm just going to tighten these up and then see if I can get this up there somehow without destroying everything. So I used a was this like a size 10, I think it said it was, somewhere in there, if you can read that. I just did it by hand, just tighten them up. Now I'm gonna go back to the instructions, see what is next, if I'm supposed to put that sticky stuff on next, or what I'm supposed to be doing, and keep on going with this process. Okay, so I was just looking at instructions. It says that tape, whatever it's called, recommended temperature is 60 degrees. Right now it's 55, so I don't know if it's the best idea to do this today. I'm going to take a look at the tape and see exactly what it looks like. I would really like to get these up there, and that way they're out of the way, rather than trying to put these back now, because now that the brackets are on, they're not going to fit in this box properly. Okay, so this is the tape. It's 3M VHB tape. This is, I believe, 1 inch. I peeled back just a tiny bit here and felt it. It feels sticky. So I figure, I guess I'll give it a shot. I definitely will double check it before I ever actually start driving, whether tonight or tomorrow or anything, just to make sure it's super, super, super secure. But yeah, they say next step is to stick this along these spots here, and then I'm guessing the next step is going to be taking it up there and slapping it down. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just make sure that these ends for both the panels are facing going that way. So I'm going to have them going lengthwise this way, and then that way they will be it'll be kind of entering somewhat midway through the van roof, you know, along the top, and then I'll have it just wiring, just going over and down into the corner where we have all the batteries and all that. So that's the plan. Alright, so I was reading through instructions more, and what they're saying makes sense. They basically got everything ready for the wires going into the van ahead of time, because once these are sealed down there, it's going to be a huge pain trying to work with these underneath there, because I'm going to only have, you know, this much room to work with. So I'm trying to figure out, I might, they said they took their panels up there and basically marked out where they were going to go, and then made the hole where the wire entry thing goes. So I might end up doing that, just taking one up, because I'll know they'll just be going like side by side. And then this, like I said before, I thought it was gonna be easy. It's not gonna be easy. So yeah, I think I will maybe work on that. It's gonna be a pain trying to get this up there. I was hoping I only have to take them up one time each, but it doesn't seem like that's gonna happen. All right, so I just measured it, and the measurements are pretty good. Actually, it's a tiny bit smaller than what they said. So I'm going to just go ahead up there and just measure out and mark everything with tape. Make it a little bit easier rather than carrying them up there. And then also, well, the fan I can't really tape out because I still don't know what's going on with that issue. So yeah, so that's what I'm gonna do, and then somewhere around here I have the box that the wires go into and then go through the roof, so I'm gonna grab that too. Okay, so this is where the cables go. I guess they basically just run through these holes, and then as you spin this, it tightens up that stuff in there to basically just seal it so no water gets in. So yeah, so I will take that up along with the tape measure and the tape here, kind of map everything out, and see how far we get today before it ends up getting dark. Okay, so I marked out, this is 42 inches going from the very base of that tape to this little lip. This cap is right there. I know it's like 42 and a tiny bit, the measurement of it, but this allows more than enough, you know, extra space there. And this is just really to eyeball it anyway, to get a better idea of where everything's supposed to go. The center of the van is on this ridge. I don't want this to sit on there because then there's going to be giant gaps in there. So I'm going to just put it off to one side so it's nice and flat on there. Hopefully this video is coming out somewhat decent. It's just like so bright here that all I see is like shadows. So yeah, I'm going to put it somewhere there. I'm going to measure over there from that kind of lip, that edge where it changes, out 14 inches, maybe like 15 just to give it extra space, and see where that ends up. And then this is going to go somewhere in between this and that. Okay, so going from there, that's 15. Spin around here, let that fall off. So we got this size gap here. People online were saying you don't want it to be too close to the solar panels because the wires can be kind of stiff. So leave it some space so that way they have room to kind of go out and end up going down before you immediately put it up close and you have to immediately go in here and turn. But I don't know. They weren't using one of these either. They were just like, they just drilled 2 holes going into it. So I think that is another issue. Whereas this, they go straight in here and then they're gonna kind of naturally curve by being pushed by the angle of this a little bit more. So I'm thinking, I don't know, maybe I'll just put it like right there or something. That way it will give it however much space that is right there. And then this still has plenty of space over here for the fan. Alright, so I am going to get back down, go over these instructions again, see if I'm supposed to be really doing anything as far as cutting right now. I really don't want to. Also just making a mess up here, which is going to make it harder to get that stuff to stick. Yeah, not fun. So I don't know if this is going to be the best day for this. I would like to get it all up here and done, and that way it's all stuck up here. And then if it's like raining next weekend, which last time I checked it was supposed to be raining, if I got, you know, this wired here, I can start doing everything inside, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Alright, so I was going through the instructions. It says before you stick this on there, you got to clean the whole roof with you know, rubbing alcohol or whatever. And I use basically all of it trying to clean out the windows today. So I would need to get more of that. So what I'm thinking is gonna put the brackets on the other one as well, and then load this stuff back up in the van as carefully as I can. And then once they're all loaded in here, I will go do some running around, pick up groceries, and while I'm there I can pick up the alcohol stuff to be able to clean. And then as far as the wires, basically what I'm thinking is the wires that hang off the bottom of the solar panels, if I just kind of leave those out, you know, sticking out from the underneath the solar panels, then I have access to them. That's all I really need. Although I don't know if they're supposed to be sticking out all the time, or if whatever wire connects to them is supposed to be going under there. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look this up. Basically, I need to read the instructions a lot more before I start sticking things on the roof. That's the idea. Okay, so I'm just in here kind of organizing things, loading the panels back up. I notice this is sticking like way up. Like when I step on it, it smushes way down. Not sure what the cause of that is. Not much has changed in here. I mean, I took that wood out from there, added that sealant. I don't know why any of that would suddenly affect this being popped so far up. Yeah, I don't know. So I might grab the screwdriver and see if tightening up any of those bolts will do anything. I don't know if that'll have an effect or not. Yeah, not really sure why suddenly that's so much higher. Okay, so got the brackets on this one as well, and then I decided I cut off those zip ties on here, and just to test it, I pulled it out and see if I could get it back under here once it's on here. There will be a little bit of added height from that sticky tape, not a lot, but that does not fit back underneath. Again, I don't even really know what these connect to. I think these have to connect with each other in some way. Something has to connect to that, and then somehow these both end up connecting to the wires that come inside. I tried looking up online. It said you can look up manuals, and all I could find was stuff about like that Bluetooth thing, and they were actually said there was a manual for the brackets. So I don't know. I'm gonna have to look up exactly what these are going to be connecting to, each of these. But yeah, so I'm not going to be sticking these up there until I do more research and figure out what's supposed to be, what are these connecting to, and everything else. Also, I have to clean off the roof anyway, so I'm gonna just tuck this under there. Okay. I put a piece of cardboard on top just to, I don't know, give it some sort of protection there. You can do the same thing here. Alright, so that stuff should be dry, or mostly dry. It's been in the shade, but it's been over 2 hours. I know that. I don't even know what time it is right now. I know it's past 3. So I'm going to check on that. And like I said, I'm going to have to run to the store to pick up more of that rubbing alcohol stuff to clean the roof. And yeah, so we're just taking it from there. I'm going to go check that out and pack up the rest of the solar stuff and see if I can screw that piece in yet. Okay, so here we are at the wood. Seems to be totally dry. This feels like wood, really. Doesn't really feel different at all. A little bit of like a rough feeling to it, but otherwise, yeah, just feels and looks the same. So I'm gonna get the drill out and put that last piece of wood connecting that, and then I can, if I feel like screwing around with the green stuff right now, I can do that. But I also definitely want to see what I can do so I don't have these sitting back here like this all week. Hopefully, I would like to do something with them. Luckily, we do have, you know, the longer nights now because of the time change, and it's getting closer and closer to spring. Actually, I think today is spring. So hopefully I can even get some work done during the week now, if I can't get these up there today or tomorrow morning. Alright, so I'm going to get that drill and get that piece on there, and this will be basically done over here other than that little bit. Okay, so I did some tests moving this in and out. I was debating whether I should have it lined up with, you know, that piece basically, or lined up with the bolts over here, so it'll be lower. And it seems like it has to be a little bit lower to be able to easily get that in and out. So that's what I'm going to go with. Now I'm going to try to hold this in place and screw a hole into one of these so I can put in a screw, and then hope that kind of holds it in place while I do the rest of them. Alright, so it is on there. I was thinking about putting another one over here just because there is, you know, a thing there, but it's already on there at, you know, each end, and this feels quite sturdy, so I'm happy with that. I'm gonna take this and let's see, I have to get it in there to slide it a specific way, and there it is. So that is all, you know, locked up there. It already was held decently in place just because of the bolt that happened to sit right there where it sits on top of, but now it definitely shouldn't have any issue with falling out at all. So the only thing left to do for this step area is that green stuff, you know, besides eventually building all the stuff on top of it, but for this specific area. Alright, so I'm going to check to see what time it is, see how long I'm supposed to have sunlight for, and this isn't like top priority. I would much rather put my focus into getting this delicate, expensive stuff out of here and put into place where it belongs, and then I can just deal with this anytime. That shouldn't take much time at all. I just have to figure out how I'm going to get it to stay on there, whether I want to just put some of that glue on there that, you know, I use for the insulation under here, or how I want to do it, or if I even want to take up, you know, a few of these screws, you know, like one at a time, and then just screw it back down through it. You know, I'll figure out how I want to do it, but right now my bigger priority is working on this stuff. Okay, so basically cleaned up in here. I'm gonna go do some more research on how exactly the solar stuff's supposed to be hooked up, and then also gotta run to the store, like I said, to pick up the rubbing alcohol and whatever else I need, so that way I can clean the roof with this, and then we'll see what else I can get done today. Just gotta make sure that's not touching. But yeah, this stuff is looking good so far. It's not running out here blocking the doors at all. This one is looking a lot better just because this is closer to it, so it's kind of blocking it from looking too far underneath, so it's closer to being level, whereas this one has quite a large gap there, so it really went down there, so it's not super filled in there really. But otherwise, yeah, everything's looking good there. I made sure that nothing was touching those edges there, even though it looks like it might be like that fan box. It's pretty huge. So yeah, I'm gonna go do that research. My phone's charged, pick up the alcohol stuff, and then take it from there. I'll update you guys as far as what I'm gonna be getting done today before it ends up getting dark. So yeah. Okay, here we are. So I did a bunch of research. I went out and got more of the alcohol stuff to clean. I think I got less than an hour to go worth of sunlight. So I'm debating how far I'm really gonna get with this tonight. So what my game plan is, whenever I'm doing the solar panels, whether it's tonight or not, I am gonna do the screws through it, because I watched this video and it's actually way easier than I thought it was gonna be. The screws are just self-tapping, and then you basically just cover it with some type of sealant to keep out any moisture, and that's really it. So whenever I get to these panels, I am going to flip around those brackets so they are sticking back out, and then the cable entry thing, instead of putting it straight in the middle and then having to try to bring the wires in and immediately like turn them to go along here or something, I'm gonna try to put it over towards this end. I don't know exactly how far the panels go from there over to here, but wherever it lines up, whether it's here or here, wherever, I end up putting that little box somewhere in this zone, so that way they can come down and just go right along the wall and go down. Whether I want them to go straight down and then turn after they pass the window, or turn before the window and go down. So that way they'll be over there. Just be less work of running wires, because either way they got to be run along that wall going down, but this way there's already over there rather than running it across the ceiling at all. So yeah, so that is the game plan. Like I said, I don't have a ton of sunlight to work with. I'm less worried about the temperature now, because I'm not going to be depending on that tape stuff, because I'm going to be using the screws. The tape is just going to be like an addition just to help out. I figured out how to wire these together. There's actually two different options, parallel and series. I'm not going to get into that stuff right now. I'll probably talk about that more when I'm actually wiring it, but I'm going to be doing I think it's the one that's called series, and it's a lot easier. Parallel, you have to get extra connectors and stuff, which I don't have, and quite frankly, there's no point in doing it for my situation. The charge controller that came with is kind of meant for that wire setup, so that's what I'm going to do. Alright, so I guess I am going to go up top and clean everything, clean off all that dirt. I'll probably have to take my shoes off while I'm doing that, otherwise I'll just be continuing to spread mud and dirt all over the place. I am going to at some point have to build out this kind of wall section over here, at least, to be able to kind of hook down the charge controller, inverter, all that stuff, so it's not just laying around. And also make room for the batteries. So yeah, but that I think I'm gonna work on more so once this stuff is more dry, so I can kind of measure out how much room I'm actually gonna be working with under here. They'll be able to figure out how high it's gonna be, how much it's gonna come out this way, to figure out where can I put the batteries, where can I put everything. So yeah, so that is the game plan. Gonna go clean it. As far as the wiring goes for coming in, that I'm going to be doing somewhere in this general area, I have that, I think it's a 1-inch thing, I don't know, circular driller thing that I bought, I think it was like way back on the first episode, to eventually hook up the car engine charger converter, whatever the hell it's called thing. So I want to be able to drill with that eventually, but first I want to hook up this solar stuff, because once I get the panels up there and then I start getting the batteries, charge control, all that in place, then I'll have everything set up to be able to hook up that whatever the thing's called, converter, I don't remember, but that thing. So yeah, I'm gonna go up there, clean it up, and then kind of plan out what I want to start hooking up first. Yeah, the person that I watch, she basically did everything in here first and then did the stuff on top, which I'm kind of thinking is a good idea, but I don't have anywhere to hook anything up to right now. And then I'm just worried about like the wiring and how do I want to do it. I guess I could put the panels up there, connect them all, have the wires kind of run over to the general direction that they need to go in, hook the panels down, and then make the hole for the little box thing, run that in there and seal all that up, and then I'll just have the wire hanging that. I think that's what I'm gonna do. That makes sense. So yeah, so first step is cleaning, and then I gotta get a clean rag, and then those are pretty gross. So I gotta get, they got sealant all over them. So I'm gonna get something clean with. The ladder's still set up out there, so I'm gonna use that. And then, as long as there's still enough daylight out there, like I said, it's getting close to dark, I will get those panels up there and work on the initial wiring stuff. Okay, so I am up here. Brought my flip-flops. Figured that'd be easier to get on and off. Almost feel like I'd be better off bringing my broom up here than this stuff, but that's what I'm gonna work with. So I'm just gonna probably just go through and like kind of dust everything first. Maybe I will go grab the broom because it's such a big area, and then after I get all that dirt off here, I'll actually scrub it down with the alcohol. This is a large area to be scrubbing all this dirt. I feel like this towel thing is gonna be filthy just after a couple seconds. Okay, so I swept everything, and then I went around with that alcohol rag thing, which now looks gross even after I swept the most of the stuff away. Scrubbed out any real gross spots, and also just went over everything just a little bit in general. So now it's time to switch around those brackets and try to get them up here before it gets dark. Okay, so the brackets, like I said, I had to flip them around, so all I did was loosen them up basically all the way to the very edge, which gave me enough space to be able to lift the bracket itself up and get these overhanging pieces, just flip around from this side, be able to spin it around, and then get on here and then just tighten it back up. Again, using that size 10 thing. Yeah, so this is the first one. I need to chop these here with the scissors, just like I did the other one, and then on the other panel I'm gonna flip that over and do the same thing with the brackets, and then it'll be time to get these up on the roof somehow. Okay, so both are out here. They are switch around for the brackets, all tightened up. So now I need to figure out, is this a one-man job to get these up there or a two-man job? So I'm going to attempt to get one of them up there. I saw someone on video do it, but they were using like a different ladder. Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how it goes if I can do it. They are pretty light. It's just they're just, you know, decently big. So it's just me awkward trying to find a position to be able to hold it with just one arm while I, use the other one to hold onto the ladder. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so number one is up here. Like I said, it's pretty light, so it wasn't too bad. Line's pretty much right up with the tape marks I had there. I could even pull it down a little bit further. Yeah, it is on there. So I am gonna go grab the other one. It's gonna get placed right next to it. I think I might have to move the ladder down though, so that way I'm not like stepping on it or anything when I'm trying to get back down. The scariest thing about this part of the build is that when I did the windows, I did everything inside. I measured, I knew. Here, everything's kind of being done from the outside. Like I don't know where these screws are actually going to end up being. If I put the, that little box thing here, I don't actually know where this is. These might have something to do with that brace that's going across, so maybe I'll try to avoid those. Once I get these screws in though, it'll be easier because then I can just measure, like, okay, here's where that screw is, measure so many inches, and then I can go inside and be like, okay, here's that screw, measure that. So yeah, so I have the wiring down at this end, so that way it's all right here near where I'm going to be running everything in. So I'm gonna go grab that other one and get it up here and get, I'll grab that tape, grab the drill, all that fun stuff. Okay, so here they are right next to each other. You can see the nice thing is that these brackets actually fit right in between these higher parts. So that saves on some space. I don't have to put it all the way over here to make it fit right. And so there's still a little bit of room over there. So yeah, like I said, I gotta get the screws, the tape, the drill, all that fun stuff, and then come on back up here. Okay, so this is everything I'm bringing up there. I got the drill, which has the that bit. That's all I need because there's self-tapping screws, so I don't need to like pre-drill or anything. The tape stuff, the sealant to put over top of the screws. I have the wires that are gonna go from the solar panels inside, and then this as well. I don't know if I'm gonna get to this part tonight. It's what time is it here? Yeah, it's already like 6:30. It's supposed to get dark at like a little after 7, so I'm definitely getting the solar panels on there. They're already up there. As far as this might be tomorrow morning or just like sometime this week after work or something. All right, so I'm gonna get up there and start working on these wires, figure all that out, and then start drilling those screws in. Okay, so what I'm doing for my connection, I have the positive of this panel and the negative of this panel. I'm going to connect these two, and then these wires are going to go from the negative one that's under here and the positive one that's under here and go through that box that's going to be somewhere over here. So the only thing connecting these two panels is this, and then the extra wire over here goes over there, and the extra wire here goes there. So yeah, so the only reason I picked positive one here and negative one here as opposed to positive one, negative one is just because the wire closest to this side on this panel is this one, and the wire closest to this side on this one is this one. So I just picked this one positive, this one negative, but there's no real reason as to why this one can be the negative and this one would be the positive. So yeah, I'm going to connect those. I'm going to get the wires out from under there and connect these ones to it, so that way when I seal this down, it can just be sealed down for good. I don't need to then at a later time try to lift it back up to reach under there and grab anything. And then we will be all good to go once I have all that connected and all the wires in the right spot. I can then just start putting that tape on it and then drilling on in there and then doing the sealant. I think that's going to be probably it for tonight because we are working with a very limited amount of sunlight here. I probably will end up needing to use my headlamp for the end of this, I'm sure. Okay, so what I think I'm going to do, I think I'm just going to leave these out, these two. I'm even debating leaving that other one out, just because, one, if I connect this and leave it up here and then try to drive tomorrow before I actually have time to deal with the other thing, all this wire is going to be just flying all over the place while I'm trying to drive. So I don't want that. And two, if I have these out instead of everything tucked under there and I need to work on this ever, all the connections are right here. Whereas if I have them all stuffed under there, it's the only way to be able to adjust these connections off. If I want to add solar, if I need to replace the panel, anything like that. I mean, if I replace the panel, I gotta rip these off anyway, but whatever the situation might be, only way to do it would be take out, scrape off the sealant, take out the screws, pry up the tape, and then get to these. Whereas if I leave these out, they're just out. So that's my thinking there. And they seem to be pretty intense connections. They don't seem like the kind of connections that are going to have issues with weather or anything like that. I mean, they're meant to be out here with the solar panels anyway. So that's my thinking. I'm even going to pop this one back out from underneath here. Like I said, that way if I ever need to get access to it, boom, it's right there. I don't have to destroy anything. Okay, so now I need to figure out how I'm going to get this tape under here. I want that to stay connected. I don't know, because once I'm worried that if I flip it and the tape hits it, if it seals like really quick, it starts sticking, and then this is like underneath it, and then I have to try to get it back out. I think I might end up having to disconnect it though to be able to flip it up. I was thinking about trying to just slide it under, but even then I still have to peel off the other piece of the tape. So I think I'm just going to disconnect that, get it all stuck on there, and then I'll probably just do one at a time. That way I can see where they're supposed to line up. Like I'll do this one first, stick it all down right here, next to it, just like it is now, and then do that one. So here we go. Almost dark. All right, so this process is really easy. I literally just peel off, stick it at one edge, go down, and then I just take the scissors and just chop it right along the edge. And then when I'm ready to stick it, I'm gonna peel off this red stuff. I'm gonna go do those ends, and then I'll be good to peel off all the red stuff, flip it over carefully while trying to keep these wires all in the right spot. And then I'll do, I guess I'll do the other one, tape that one all too, and then I'll do all the screwing at once and then all the sealant. Okay, so all that is in place. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go grab the electrical tape that I got right down in the van. Real quick, do that, and that way it's gonna make this part a lot easier. I'm gonna tape this just over here. I'm gonna tape this one over here, so that way I don't have to stress about that. Although actually, you know what? Let's just do it. It's almost dark. I'm just gonna do it. Hopefully it turns out okay, because if not, it's gonna be a disaster. Okay, so it wasn't as bad as I thought it was gonna be. Basically, I just took my foot and held down this one that's over here, and then my hand that was holding the panel, I just held this out at the same time, so that's all good. I'm not gonna connect these even once I finish doing this one, because that basically will make this, I don't know, like somewhat live, because you're connecting the positive and the negative. Whereas right now they're here absorbing that sunlight, but it doesn't have anything to do with it. Whereas if I connect these, I think it makes it slightly more, I don't know, dangerous for something to happen maybe. I don't know. I'm not an expert. I could die doing this. All right, so that is all in place. That sticky stuff really does hold pretty quick. When I was initially flipping it, that corner actually tried to stick along this edge as I was flipping it, and I had to quick kind of unflip it and then lift it back up completely to get it down to make sure it didn't stick in the wrong spot. So I'm going to do the exact same thing over here, and then it'll be time for screws. Alright, so they are both in place. Got all the wires out the way I want them, in the right spots. So like I said, these will be connected, positive, negative. This one's the positive coming from this panel going inside. This one's the negative going inside. But right now, not doing with any of that. It's time to screw this stuff in before it gets any darker. Okay, I was literally about to screw this in. I had this going, ready to hit it, and I looked at it and realized that's not the right thing. So I'm gonna have to go find something that can actually fit on that. Hopefully I have something that will work with this drill that fits on there. Because I mean, that just, no. Alright, so I literally stuck in the 8 from the first pack all into those spots just so they're ready to go. But first, I gotta find something that's gonna fit on here. I'm gonna take these with me just to be able to test the sizing, and I'll be back. Okay, so this is the bit that fits onto these. This is the size 8. I can't find any type of adapter that'll allow me to have this hooked up here. It's too big to fit there. And any kind of adapter that I have that would fit in there ends up being like too big for this part. So I think I am gonna be running to Lowe's real quick, not with the van obviously, and then I'm gonna have to come back here and most likely in the dark get these screws put in. Yeah, I wish I was paying more attention to these before, but I wasn't even planning on using these initially. Damn it. Alright, well, I'm just going to leave this here, and I will be back to figure out how I'm getting these in there. So, time for a Lowe's run. Okay, so back out here. It is really getting dark out here. I got my headlamp on. I ended up finding a bit that would basically allow me to attach that other thing to it, so that way it will work. rather than finding one that's specific for that size. It's metric, so obviously it's harder to find stuff like that. So this is what I got. So I'm basically, this end goes into the drill, this end connects to that thing, wherever the hell is in here, connects to this thing, goes in that end, and this end connects to, or goes on to the screw. So that's what I'm gonna do. It's getting cold out here, it's getting dark, so I'm gonna get these in here. I'm not even gonna worry about sealing it tonight because it's getting cold now anyway. Gonna pack everything up, clean up, and then tomorrow morning I come out and do all the sealant on it, so it'll be good to go. I'll get out here nice and early, so that way before I have to drive it all, hopefully it should be solidified enough. Yeah, but it is getting freaking chilly out here, so I'm gonna get this over with. Okay, so I got this one here in. Try to work with this light here. Those two over there in. The one right there is nice and tight, and that one just kind of keeps spinning, like it's not really caught on anything. I went to put this one in, and it got knocked over and is now underneath here somewhere. I need to try to get it out because I only have exactly enough screws, and this is probably not going to be easy to get up even if I took out these screws. Obviously this sticky stuff has been on here for a little while now, so somehow I need to get under there to get that freaking screw. Okay, so I managed to get it out. You can see getting real dark, so trying to get these last screws in, or I mean, we're not even halfway through, but let me get these in and hopefully not lose any more underneath, and then get the hell out of here after I clean up all this mess. Alright, getting real dark. Got all, what was it, 8 going across here. Gonna go do those. Just about completely dark out here. I am thinking about actually just doing the sealant tonight. That way it has longer to sit in there, and settle, seal up, whatever, before I drive tomorrow. It's chilly, it's dark, I don't want to, but I think it's probably for the best just to get it over with so it has plenty of time to do its thing before I start moving this all around. So that's what I'm gonna do. Okay, all of them are in there. It's real tough to work in that corner because I have these all the way up and over. That area isn't the best stand. It seems to kind of pop in a little bit if I put too much pressure on it, so just kind of reaching over everything. In the future I might end up just moving a ladder to this side to work on anything over here, but I think I can make it work for just putting this sealant on for right now without falling off or anything. So I'm gonna go around and I said do the sealant around the bolt, all on top of it and stuff, and then also going around the bracket, so that way any moisture can't get in through here or in through here down into the hole with the screw. I don't see how I could really do any sealant back under here for the bracket, so I guess I'm just doing kind of like these 3 sides along it. Alright, so I got the sealant somewhere around here. There it is. I'm using the this one is the self-leveling. It's like meant for roof stuff. So I don't know, it doesn't really say it on here, but that's how it's kind of advertised. So yeah, roof replace. I'm not replacing a roof, but I'm on my roof, so I'm gonna use this. That way it gets all nice and kind of level and flattens out and fills in all gaps, like those spots going around the floor that I did today. So I'm gonna cover all this stuff, and then that's gonna be it for the night. It's gonna be just cleaning up stuff after that, so I'll show you how it turns out or if there's any issues along the way. Alright, so it is basically pitch black out here. There's a tiny bit of light way over beyond the trees there, but over here it is dark. So I'm gonna try to get this to show up okay, so you can see that's what happened there. Hopefully it kind of looks okay because we're dealing with a silver plate thing on top of a white roof with white sealant, so you can kind of see what happened. This one kind of worked out nicely. I'm so close together because it was less time working with the sealant because that is just one line going down the middle. Same thing all over there. So it's all looking good there. Time to clean up for the night. Okay, so everything's all cleaned up out here. So as always, going down the ladder up and down, I noticed that there are some gaps there with that sealant. So I'm just gonna let it do its leveling stuff tonight, see what it looks like tomorrow, and then fill in any gaps that are on there. I wasn't even planning on doing the sealant tonight anyway, so I say I'm out of the game. Yeah, so everything's all good there. All 4 of those cables, you can't even really see them, it's so freaking dark out here. But they're all out in the position I need them to be in. Not supposed to be getting any rain, I think, for the next couple of days, really. I'm not even sure when it's supposed to rain next, but so this should be all good to just hang out here tonight, let that sealant do its job. Tomorrow I'll do that touch up there. I don't know how much time I'm really gonna have tomorrow to do anything else. I don't think I'm gonna be working on the little box over there and running the cables and all that, but at least the sealant is on there. Like I said, I'm gonna do that touch up, and these are all secure and ready to go for whenever I can start working on that box and everything else inside. So I'm happy with how it turned out. I think they're looking good right here. So yeah, I am gonna, last thing to pack up is this ladder I'm on. So I'm gonna get down from here, figure out how to close this all up. I mean, it's so cold. I mean, the metal on this ladder is like hard to hold on to. So I'm gonna get off of here, close it up, and lock everything up, and just eat some food and relax and pass out until tomorrow morning. It is Sunday morning. It is a lot colder than I was expecting it to be this morning. It's supposed to hit 60 something today, but as you can see there on the windshield, that's not a glare, that's just a whole bunch of frozen ice on there. Just frost. Didn't like snow or rain anything last night, but it is below freezing right now. Not just below like 40, actually below freezing, like it's 20 something out. So I'm not gonna mess with the sealant quite yet, because I don't know if I can even come out of the tube. I didn't expect it to be this cold. And I was even waiting. I was like, all right, let me wait a little bit longer for like the sun to come up and start warming up. But no, it's still real cold out here. I got my little heater. I gotta hook it all up, and I'm gonna check out all this sealant here. So far, just eyeballing it, looks fine. Gonna check by the doors, and then I think I'm gonna get that tape, that blue tape, and start kind of doing some measuring and marking some things out. That way I can move on to the next step at some point of hooking up all this stuff, and then we'll really be clearing out all these boxes from here, and actually have some room to do some stuff in here. But yeah, getting those solar panels out here definitely helped a lot, but now I got this fan in here, so so yeah, I'm gonna hook this heater up, and then I'm just gonna start back here and measure out, because this is kind of the easy spot to measure out, you know, the bed zone, and then you know, measure out for the cabinets and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's the game plan for this morning. Hopefully it starts warming up enough before I have to leave to actually deal with that sealant up there. Obviously the ladder's still in here, so I haven't even gone up there yet. I literally just got out here, so I haven't gone up there to see how it looks or anything yet, but I don't see any solar panels laying around, so they should still be up there. Alright, so gonna get the heater going, do some measuring, and I don't know, I'll just show you the tape I'm putting down and explain what I'm doing, but not gonna be anything exciting. Alright, here we go. Okay, so the little heater's going. Somewhere inside I have, from like when I very first got the van, I made basic sketches including the measurements of how I wanted stuff to be. I overall remember the measurements, but I'm gonna go grab that, so that way I know that these were supposed to be like something like 23 inches going out each, and then they were supposed to be about 23 to 24 inches here in the middle, but I don't remember the exact length. I know it's basically just going from the corner to the end of that wheel well, but I'm gonna go grab that. That way I have kind of an idea of what I was working with then, and then we'll get to work here with this tape. Okay, so I went and grabbed a couple pieces of paper that I had in there, and I have this, but there's no measurements on it, and a lot of the lines are like halfway through the boxes. I think each box is supposed to represent like 6 inches maybe, so I need to go find, I don't know where I had more information written down, but I definitely had more than just this. So I'm gonna go do some more searching and come back out here. Okay, so I found this. Not a whole lot to go on here. So basically, I'm almost starting from scratch, which is fine. I'm not really worried about it. This wasn't completely finished anyway because I didn't factor in the cutout for the step, and so I don't know if that fridge would even fit there, and so just gonna basically do it from scratch. Just I have some of the measurements here, but I'm just gonna measure it anyway as I go along. Alright, so I'm gonna use that tape measure, and I'm gonna have to move that ladder out of the way, obviously, and I'm gonna start just measuring out some of this stuff here. Okay, so that stuff is more or less dry. It's just still a little bit sticky, and as you can see, as I was measuring, or this thing actually focused, there we go, that metal got into that right there and kind of smushed it around a little bit. But like I said, more or less it's dry, just still a little bit sticky to it, and if you accidentally stab something metal into it, it will end up taking some of that sticky stuff. Alright, so it seems like from that corner is about 69 inches. So yeah, so what I'm planning on doing is have 23 inches of kind of like seat, and then same thing over here, 23 inches, and then be 23 inches in the middle, and then the backs will basically fit into the middle, either up here as a table or down to make it into the bed. And then I think for my measurement I had on the paper, it said it was like 57 inches going from there to there. So yeah, so I'm gonna just tape out the 23 inch mark somewhere along both of these sides, and then I also need to measure, I think I'm basically just gonna go, so I don't have some weird like circular shaped seat or anything. I wanted to just be nice, easy, right angle, so I'm just gonna have it go out from that corner and just come straight out, and then I'll just have a little extra space over here for whatever. So that's how I'm planning on doing that, and I'll just measure from that corner, wherever that comes out to be, and also just from that corner 57 inches, and make tape over there and just make it into a nice box. Okay, so I think everything's covered in all the dried up mud from yesterday. I kept trying to stick that tape on there at the basically measuring out from there 23 inches, and it just won't really stick. So I'm guessing it's either because it's just so cold in here right now, or because it's just so much dirt on there that's not really even sticking on the floor. It's just trying to stick the dirt, and then the dirt moves. So I'm gonna go ahead and do a sweep of this kind of general section here, so that way hopefully the tape can actually stick onto the floor. If it's still not sticking, I guess it's just because it's cold, in which case I'm not going to be getting really anything done because I won't be able to tape this out, and it's still way too cold to be working on the sealant up there. So yeah, so I'm going to do a sweep, and then we'll try again with the tape. Okay, so I don't have them lined up in terms of how far they're going down yet, but just going out from that corner. You can see they're kind of uneven in terms of the that length or whatever, but just going out from there and then out from there. That's 23 inches, and I didn't measure from that edge, but in theory it should be 23 inches. So I'll do that now just to double check, make sure that everything's all even. I don't need to adjust any of those measurements. But yeah, so after that sweep, seems to be like they're sticking a little bit better. It is really cold out here, and with this tape there's no way I can wear gloves while using it because it's hard enough to use without gloves. And dealing with this sealant is just a pain in the ass trying to get these measurements because it keeps getting stuck anywhere I put that measuring tape. So I may end up calling it quits here in a little bit, and just coming back out when it's warmer to deal with the stuff on the roof, because this is going to end up just making a mess. You can see it's getting all covered there. I mean, it's hard enough dealing with this on a regular basis because it just keeps trying to pull in on its own because it's a pain in the ass. But now trying to deal with it pulling in while dragging sealant along with it, just that much worse. So yeah, I think I think I might just do that last measurement, figuring out the distance between those, making sure it's good, and then I think I might say that's enough for today. I need to let this dry some more, and get the hell out of here and let it just warm up in here a bit more. I'll leave the heater running. Hopefully that'll help with the sealant going along there. And then once it's warmer outside, I'll finish up the stuff on top. And then at some point I kind of need to do a little bit of organization in here before I start driving, so I don't have ladders falling all over the place and drills falling on the floor and everything. Right now it is just freezing out here, and I'm ready to get the hell out of here. Alright, so it's a little bit warm out here. I don't think it's quite 40 yet, but it's at least above freezing, so I'm going to give this a shot, see if it's going to work. So it seems like basically looks similar to how it was last night. Maybe level down a little bit. You can see the top of the screws there a little bit. So I'm just going to fill in around the gaps best I can there, and then I think that's going to be it for this week's episode, because I gotta go get ready for the day to go film a dance showcase. So yeah. Alright, so those are all covered up now. Hopefully that kind of stays in place while I'm driving. Definitely should have taken my flip-flops off between it being a little bit wet on the ground and wet on here. It's just muddy footprints all over, but whatever. Either next time it rains or when I'm up here putting on the little box thing, it'll get all cleaned up, so not a big deal. Everything looks good though. Let's do a little test here. These are really solid in there between that tape and those screws, so I'm happy with how that's all looking. So yeah, that's all good. I might quick go grab that electrical tape and tape these in some kind of position so they're not flapping around, because they could flap this way and then flap back and smack into this. Everything is a tiny bit wet up here, so I don't know how well it's going to work, but I'm going to grab that and just see if I can just tape it like that or something, so that way it's not flapping around, and then we'll be all done up here. Okay, so I taped them all in place here. I did put the tape onto the panels there in some of the spots, most of the spots. I don't think that's going to cause any issues, because this kind of tape, electrical tape, shouldn't leave a bunch of residue like duct tape or anything, and should be strong enough to hopefully hold it while driving, but not so strong that it's a pain in the ass like the duct tape was getting off of stuff. One spot I did accidentally get into the sealant there, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. If it ends up peeling off some sealant when I take that tape off, I'll just add some more sealant to it, no big deal. So that is going to do it for this week. There's the view of not the sunset, but whatever. So yeah, next week, I think during the week I should be able to get some work done, because it's going to be like warm and light out later. So I'm looking forward to getting that box in there, running those wires, and then doing some more planning on the inside as far as how I'm going to hook everything up in there, and figure out what portion of a wall do I need to make in order to make that happen. So yeah, so this is all good. So until next time.